those of 850 WF.
And HOAs. We're here every Sunday at 11 a.m. on 850 WFTL in South Florida, and we are live on YouTube on the Condo Craze and HOAs channel. I am Karen Curtis, and I'm here again today with attorney Eric Glazer from Glazer and Sachs, PA. And Eric is board certified by the Florida Bar in condominium and plan development law. And he has firms with attorneys in Fort Lauderdale and Orlando. And we're here each week to answer all your calls and emails about the issues that make life in your condominium or HOA absolutely crazy from one minute to the next. And we'd love to get the phone lines going early so we can answer all your calls about anything condo or HOA. 877-850-8585. Again, 877-850-8585. Again, you can ask a question as well on our Condo Craze and HOA's YouTube channel in the chat box.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. And if you're a fan of the show, don't forget to do two things. Like I say every week, subscribe to the Condo Craze channel on YouTube. You can watch the show live and watch any prior show that we've ever done. And, of course, subscribe to our email list at condocrazeandhoas.com. By joining each week, you can get emails about the show, our blog, our seminars, one coming up in 2 days in Palm Beach. Looking forward to going there. You get copies of our newsletters, updates on the law, and a lot more. And, of course, we do a blog every Monday morning at hoa-condoblog.com. Again, hoa-condoblog.com. Tomorrow's topic, remember we did a blog a couple of weeks ago that said just walk away? Well, tomorrow's a little different. Tomorrow we followed what up with when you can't just walk away. When your condo or HOA must get involved in the fight. You have no choice. But before we get to that, I just want to say happy Easter Sunday to everybody who's celebrating the holiday today. May you enjoy today with your family, your friends, and your neighbors. And Karen, as you know, that is a fantastic segue into a disturbing survey that was released yesterday that was conducted by AmeriCorps and even the United States Census Bureau. And Karen, start us off. Tell us about it.
Yeah, I saw this and I went, I kind of agree. I mean, the two federal agencies collected data from the country's 12 largest metropolitan areas to rank cities in two categories: informal helping and formal volunteering through an organization. Miami ranked last, or at least helpful. Overall, it wasn't close. Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love, finished first.
Wow. Last on the list, believe it or not, in terms of being a friendly city. So, what does that mean by being informal helping? Only 35.5% of Miamians are in the friendly habit of informally helping or doing favors for others, such as assisting somebody across the street, holding open a door, fixing a flat tire, shoveling a driveway. Well, shoveling a driveway? Are we serious? That's in the survey?
Yeah.
Yeah. Giving directions, watching each other's children, feeding neighbors, pets, running an errand, checking on isolated seniors, or even lending a cup of sugar. I mean, that's pretty bad. We don't participate in any of those things, apparently. And how did we do in the other civic categories?
Wow. In four other measures of civic engagement, Miami ranked at or near the bottom. Of course, Miami has a firm grip on last place for, quote, doing favors for your neighbors, and is in third from last in membership of an organization and second from last in donating to charity or a group.
Wow, sounds like a terrible place to live, huh? And if you go by if you go by this survey and this survey only, my God, really, Miami, like I said, seems like a mean and evil place to live, where people care about nothing but themselves. And I'm sure there's people listening that are going, shaking their heads now and saying, that's right, they got it. And the survey attempted to answer the question, why are so many Miamians considered unfriendly, inconsiderate, and uncharitable in study after study of city civic health, both national and international? How about that? Even across the world, we're like last.
Well, what's interesting is half of the people in Miami weren't born here,
Right,
so
right. But I don't take
I
that
don't know
as
if
an
that matters.
excuse.
But
Yeah.
here's what they say: sociologists and the people who deal with the daily stress of Miami dynamics have given thought to how such a sunny place can be so hostile. They point to a number of factors. Miami's rich diversity also can make for difficult communication. That's true. It's a city of transplants, immigrants, snowbirds, and tourists who speak different languages and come from different places. And
Uh,
maybe they just don't understand that someone needs help.
I don't know if I'm buying it, to tell you the truth. So now apparently diversity is a bad thing. I call bull on that. No city in the world is more diverse than New York, and New York
Right.
scored much higher than Miami did in terms of friendliness. You know, what else leads to being an unfriendly city, Karen?
Well, I think when you get shot on 95,
Hmm.
that's not fun.
Yeah, right,
Road rage, which extracts a heavy toll on every miserable commute,
right.
raising blood pressure and resentment toward the incompetent and rude drivers going the wrong way on the exit ramp or shooting bullets through the windshield.
That actually happened. An FBI agent actually did that. But, I'll agree with that. Rudest drivers, I'll agree. I have no problem saying Miami has rude drivers. And you risk getting shot if you mix it up with the other driver. No two ways about it. People are carrying here.
Yeah.
But, they also say Miami is a young city, so locals are not debating the history of the Heat and the Marlins like our northern neighbors do over like the Celtics and the Cubs. Although Miamians do bond when hurricanes hit.
Yeah.
And they also blame unchecked growth and new waves of new people. But,
Mm.
I'm not buying it.
Yeah, but a lot of the people are from New York, and
Right.
they're nicer up there. I don't get it. So that's ridiculous. The Dolphins are here for over 50 years. They have the perfect season, remember?
Yep.
And the Heat are here for 30 years, and the Marlins are here for it's been 30 years,
Yep.
and the Panthers here for 30 years. So what's the excuse there?
Right, exactly. To say that we don't have sports teams that are here a long time, again, I call bull on that. And I'm amazed at some of the things, though, that were left out of the survey as to why Miami's a mean city. Everybody that comes from the Northeast is used to taking public transportation to work with their neighbors. And here we don't have that. Here, you drive in your own cars. Here you have to
Right.
drive everywhere you need to go. If you need a
Yeah.
gallon of milk, what do? You have to get in the car and drive. There's no walking in the street. There's no shopping with your neighbors, right? And the truth is,
Right.
there's very little opportunity to get to meet your neighbors unless truly a real effort is made. And in the Northeast and probably everywhere else in the country, it kind of comes automatically. And I'll tell
Right.
you, it takes a lot of people a long time that move here to get used to the fact that there's very little interaction with your neighbors outside your home while going to and from work and going to
Right.
going shopping. Here you go from work to your car to your driveway and into your house, and in the morning you do the same thing in reverse. Just that's how it works here.
Yeah, and you have very little contact. I mean, you think that people are unfriendly here in Florida as compared with the Northeast? I think so. I'm from Michigan.
Right, and you
They're
think
nice.
so. Yeah, and right. But, I'm not sure I buy that. I just think that because of the mechanics of our lives down here, as opposed to the Northeast, we really don't get a chance to be friendly with each other if you think about it. I live on a block with about 10 homes for 22 years. I'm friendly with about two or three homes on the block. That's it. And that's a shame. In Brooklyn, and I'm a friendly guy, and the truth is that I only know two or three homes on the block. It's kind of crazy after 22 years. And in Brooklyn, I grew up in an apartment building with 60 homes in the building. Suppose I tell you today, like 45 years later, I can name 50 of the 60 people
Whoa.
that were in my building. No problem, because what did we do? We took the elevator together. We sat outside together. We shopped together. It was simply a different place. But I really, truly believe that because we don't walk anywhere, it really hurts our relationship with our neighbors, and maybe we get a bad rap because of that. But, what are our...
And it doesn't help our waistline.
No, it certainly does not. But what do our listeners think, especially those that have moved down here from the Northeast? Are we a friendly or unfriendly town here in South Florida? And is there any realistic way to make it friendlier? Give us a call
Yeah.
here in the studio. Certainly would like to do better on the survey next year, right? Give us a call here in the
Yes.
studio, 877-850-8585. Again, 877-850-8585. I'll say this before we cut to the break. These surveys haven't stopped anybody from moving here. That's for sure, right? People are moving here in droves. Right. Or if you don't want to give us a call, write in your question in the chat box on the Condo Craze and HOA's channel on YouTube, and we will be back right after this.
There are very large management companies.
Oh no, an unexpected leak. Jay, you know that's no way to solve a roof problem. Call Best Roofing. We solve roof problems.
We are DMI Paving and Seal Coating, Florida's parking lot experts. We specialize in asphalt paving and repair, including pothole repair, seal coating using JC7 or polytar, concrete curbs, ramps, and walkways, and striping and pavement marking, as well as ADA compliance. We service commercial properties, including homeowners associations, apartment communities, shopping malls, warehouses, stadiums and arenas, and more. Experience is worth more than anything in an industry like ours, and our staff has decades of it. We have specialized equipment for any job, regardless of size, saving you time and money. DMI has a reputable history. We have been in business since 1956. We serve the state of Florida from 6 locations. Let us bid on your next parking lot project. Visit us online at dmipavingandsealcoating.com.
There are very large management companies, and there are very small management companies. And I think Affinity sits somewhere in the middle of that, where they are big enough to provide you with all of the back of the house services, the accounting, the infrastructure, the support systems, but small enough to be high touch.
We believe at Affinity that we do the 9 to 5 so that you don't have to do that.
TL Karen Curtis with attorney Eric Glazer. He specializes in community association law. We have some phone lines that are still available. The number to call is 877-850-8585 to ask anything condo or HOA related, or if you want to weigh in on this terrible survey that shows that we suck here in Miami. We're just completely mean to it. But you have some seminars. You teach people for free, Eric,
We certainly
about
do.
how to be on a board and how to, instead of signing that affidavit, to become certified to sit on a board.
Big
and
day.
You are going to be in Palm Beach County.
Yep, big day coming up on Tuesday. We're teaching our board certification class. Again, it's for both condos and HOAs. Remember, for those that are listening, if you don't get certified within 90 days of getting on the board, you are automatically off the board. And really, the best way is by taking a class. As Karen said, do not sign that dumb self-serving form. And we've been teaching the class now for how many years? I keep saying we certified 22,000. It's probably closing in on 23, 24,000 at this point.
Sure.
And it's what we love to do. And Karen said, this coming Tuesday, we're going to be in Palm Beach at the Palm Beach Convention Center at the L&L Condo and HOA Expo. We have the honor of kicking off the event. 8:30 in the morning, we'll be teaching our board certification class.
That's right up Okeechobee Boulevard. And then April 26th at 8:30 in the morning in Orlando, you'll be at the Orange County Convention Center.
Yep, and the very next day, we go from Orlando to Tampa, April 27th, 8:30 in the morning at the Tampa Bay Convention Center. And Karen always tells everybody what all the topics we teach. I'll just say this rather than reading off all the topics. This year, if you're in a condo, this is the year that you need to take this course. There is so much to learn. There are so many new...
Even if you've taken the course before and you've been on the board, you
Absolutely.
should take it again because...
Totally irrelevant. I agree, Karen, 100%. Totally irrelevant if you took the class before. This is the year to take the class because the Florida legislature made so many changes to the law in light of the Surfside tragedy. So there's all new safety laws that you're going to have to learn and all kinds of new laws starting with reserve funds. So this is the year that you want to take the class. And again, to sign up, all you got to do, go to condocrazeandhoas.com. Again, condocrazeandhoas.com. And click on the seminars link. Very, very simple. And we look to forward to seeing everybody this Tuesday. How about we go to the phones? Who do we got?
We have Barry in Miami.
Hey, Barry. How are you?
Barry.
Hi, happy Easter, Karen.
Thank you.
Hey, Barry. How are you? Listen, I just went on a whole tirade about not signing that silly, self-serving, dumb form to get certified. And you've been working really hard. And what's the chances of getting mandatory education from now on?
100%.
You feel 100%.
Really?
Barry's been working like a dog. You have no idea.
Yeah.
Barry's been working around the clock to
100%.
get this done.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
100%.
And it's also going to say that it's going to say if you took the course before, you still have to take it again to learn about SIRS and milestone inspection. It's going to have all that in it.
Oh, my gosh.
That's fantastic. Barry's pretty certain that finally, Barry's funny, makes me laugh. He says, I'll still give you 99% of the credit if you give me one. Switch it up.
So
You get
before
99%.
May, you're saying before May.
I
they'll
couldn't
pass
get
it.
the damn thing passed all these years I tried. That's for sure. So whatever you can do, man, would it be appreciated. Let me tell you something. It's truly, truly a wonderful thing to do for all the residents that live in a condo because it's a safety matter at this point.
Right.
You know, that's what it boils down to. What kind of question you got, Barry?
Yeah, but it's a lock, Eric.
Oh, I hope so. I hope so, buddy. I really do. When that happens, I'm going to be celebrating.
Okay. So when the new law passes, and let's assume it passes, and we talked the last 2 weeks, my question is related to if you want to waive reserves, non-structural integrity reserves, but very expensive reserves
Right.
for air conditioning, HVAC, elevator modernization.
Flooring, carpeting,
You
right?
will need a majority. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Right. Go ahead.
Yeah, you will need a majority of all unit owners' approval to waive those reserves.
Yep.
So my question deals with the limited proxy. Can you explain to your listeners the limited proxy and how you can adjourn meetings?
Sure.
And how you have 90 days. And I have a real problem with how this works, but you need to explain that.
Sure. So I just want to explain where you're coming from. So with all the items in the structural integrity reserve study, there's no way, no how you're going to be able to waive any of those items. Those basically have to do with the structure of the building. But Barry named some things like the elevators, the carpeting maybe, the pool, for example. Those don't have to do with the integrity of the building. So you're still technically going to be able to waive those because they're not in the structural integrity reserve study, right? Normally, you would be able to waive those with a majority of a quorum. But it looks like the statute's going to change. You're not going to be able to waive those with a majority of a quorum anymore. You're going to need a majority of your entire building. And that's a much different, much higher number. So these things are normally done.
Like that.
Yeah, it's going to make things very, very expensive. Why not keep for those things the ability to waive those with simply a majority of a quorum, right? Considering that they're not related to safety. So how do we do this? We normally send out a limited proxy. We have a date for a meeting, and we send out limited proxies to everybody, and we say, do you want to waive reserves, right? And we go to the meeting, and if we don't get enough votes, right, to waive the reserves, what can we do? a member can make a motion to say, okay, I vote to lawfully adjourn this meeting, and you can do it for up to 90 days. Why can you do it for up to 90 days? Because everybody who voted already by limited proxy, those proxies remain valid. So let's just say you need 50. Let's just say you need it. And you're holding 40 in your hand, and damn it, you're 10 short. If you lawfully adjourn the meeting for another 3 months, right, those 40 that you're holding in your hand stay valid. They're valid at the next meeting as long as the next meeting is within 90 days. So what do you do within those 90 days? You work hard to get the extra 10. Correct. And that's the way it's done now. Again, but if the law has changed, you're going to need a majority of everybody rather than a majority of a quorum. Hope I explained that well, Barry.
Yeah, perfectly. The problem, Eric, is the way the budget works, you're not going to be able to you're not going to have a limited proxy that's valid for 90 days as a practical matter. Here's the problem. Most boards, as I understand it, legally you have to have your budget meeting 14 days before the beginning of the year. That's December 17th, let's say, for a calendar year. But you can't do that. You have to have a meeting, let's say, on November 15th,
Right.
because it takes a month to have the coupons printed.
That's correct.
And sent out to the unit owners so they can pay their January 1st, 2024 assessment.
As a practical matter, you're correct. That's exactly right.
So you're at November 15th. Now you have to have a 14-day notice before November 15th, and you have to include the proposed budget. So now you're at November 1st. So if you back that up by, let's say, 90 days, you're talking about August 1st.
Yeah.
You can't have a meeting in the middle of the summer.
Yeah.
The property manager can't prepare a budget and go to all the vendors in August. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, Barry,
So
you're really thinking ahead. This is
they're
great. Yeah.
They're not going to have anywhere close to 90 days or 60 days. If you do 60 days, you're meeting September 1st before Labor Day. That
Right.
doesn't work.
Yeah.
So maybe you have 45 days to get the vote. But however it works, this provision is awful.
I get your point, right? Because if they're not going to be able to get the votes, what do you got to do? You got to back it up, right? Back up the date of the budget meeting. And you're talking about backing it up to the summer when nobody's around. And that's
Right, it
not
doesn't
just
work.
simply not going to work. So I think what we got to do, and I got no problem doing this, you know, I know you've been pushing for it. Let the unit owners still have the ability to waive the reserves for the items that are not in the structural integrity reserve study. Why? Because they're not related to safety. Well, you know, why should the legislature care? So keep that in there and let them do it with simply a majority of a quorum, right, which you can certainly get, rather than a majority of the whole building. And I'm with you on that, Barry. If that helps in any way, I am certainly with you. And I can tell you, I'm sure the listeners of our show would certainly be with you. They're getting hit with enough mandatory reserves. So I think it's
Right,
great.
can
I think it's a...
15 seconds?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm from Philadelphia, and I live in Miami. I'm on your survey,
So you went from the best to the worst, apparently.
I guess.
Right.
So I guess I'm in
certainly
the
nice.
middle somewhere.
Barry, thank you for the call. You're friendly. We know that, no matter what. Thanks for the call, buddy.
Thank you, Barry.
You got it.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
All right, let's go to the board. We have a question from Ryan. Ryan writes in, Morning, Eric. Can the board of directors hire a property management company and new attorney with no meeting, vote, or budgeting? I'm assuming no, but if they can take out $2 million, I don't know. The answer is no, you're right. Clearly, they need a properly noticed meeting, right, at least 2 days in advance, and the unit owners have a right to attend and the right to speak when they're going to hire a management company and new attorney. No two ways about it. Certainly when they're having a budget meeting, that meeting needs to be open to the owners. As Barry said, you got to give 14 days notice for that. There's a statute out there that said they can meet privately when it has to do with personnel matters. Nobody really knows what the hell that means. But I can
what
tell
does that
you,
mean?
yeah, it does not mean that they can meet privately to hire a property management company new attorney. It normally means that statute was drafted and passed for a very specific reason. It was passed for the possibility of meeting with, let's say, an employee that you want to terminate, and you don't want to do it in front of the entire community. You want to have some discretion to do it in front of just the board of directors so you don't humiliate and embarrass the person that you're terminating. So personnel matters means when you're terminating somebody to me, it does not mean hiring a property management company. It does not mean hiring a new attorney. It does not mean having a budget meeting. And it certainly doesn't mean having a meeting to take out a $2 million loan. I can't believe that a board would do that in a private meeting. I mean, that's something that's terrible. That's something that, quite frankly, should be reported to the
But
DBPR.
in Miami, they might want to have a public meeting to fire somebody just for the humiliation.
Just to humiliate them, right? Because they're on the unfriendly list, according to the survey of even the United States Census Bureau. Pretty wild. I'd like to get some people to call in and let us know what they think about that. Do you live in an unfriendly city, perhaps the world's most unfriendly city? So I hope that answers your question, Ryan. Let's do this. Let's take our bottom of the hour break. Have the calls come in, 877-850-8585, 877-850-85, or join us on the chat box on the Condo Craze channel on YouTube. And I'll tell you what, if you'd like to call in and wish your friends, your family a happy Easter, we would certainly love to hear that as well. All right? Be back right after this.
Is your home or condo looking old, worn out, and in need of a fresh look? Then you need PD Painting to paint your property and make it look like new again. PD Painting will first properly...
So we have 3 calls now.
Good. I'm going to start off with...
I just did a story about how Miami was the worst for commuting as well. So maybe that's why we're nasty, that we also have the worst commuting.
Let me tell you something.
Insurance? Call InsureCo. Need auto or motorcycle insurance? Call InsureCo. How about golf cart insurance or trailer and RV insurance? Just call InsureCo for a free quote. They're open every day. From renters insurance, officers and directors insurance, and personal liability umbrellas to all types of business insurance, boat insurance, cancer policies, life, health, and annuities. All you need is InsureCo. Get a free quote. They service Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach. Speak English and Spanish. InsureCo Insurance and Financial Services. It's the only name you need. Office at 14401 West Sunrise Boulevard in Sunrise, inside Edmore Chevrolet.
Call 954-846-1206, 954-846-1206, That's 954-846-1206.
Need an insurance evaluation, audit, or quotation for your condo association or homeowners association? If so, then you need to speak with our insurance experts at Mack & Waltz. We insure over 800 associations, and we are the clear leader in this marketplace. Mack & Waltz has been in business since 1989. We write insurance on billions of dollars of property values. We are an independent insurance agency representing insurance companies which specialize in condo and HOA insurance. The staff at Mack & Waltz works closely with board members and property managers and regularly attends association meetings to help educate the association about their insurance policies. To learn more about how Mack & Waltz can save you money and improve your insurance program, call now 954-640-6225 and ask for Greg Waltz. 954-640-6225. Mack & Waltz Insurance Group. Let us protect your association.
Eight 50 WFTL. We are live this Easter Sunday. Karen Curtis with attorney Eric Glazer. He does specialize in community association law. We're taking your calls about anything, questions that you have, anything going on that's crazy you want to ask about. 877-850-8585.
Hey, so we're talking about whether Miami is an unfriendly city, as found by the United States Census Bureau to be the most unfriendly in the United States. Well, let me tell you a personal story that happened to me this week. I had to go to Miami to handle an HOA election. And let's just say the people there that were, very, very unhappy about the way things were at their association. And I just got in there. And I got there, and the bottom line, it turned out that there was no quorum in order to have the election. And I was cursed out, and all kinds of things happened to me, and I was called, who do you think you are, some suave Italian, to come in here and take over our election. So apparently I looked like a suave Italian, and maybe the Brooklyn accent had something to do with it. But let me tell you, thank God the police were there to escort me out. Yeah, that's how crazy it got, all because of condo stuff and HOA stuff. That's right. Yeah, it got nuts. And I mean this sincerely.
Wait a minute. Were they blaming you for lack of a quorum?
The bottom line is, how dare you rule it a certain way? Bottom line. It's we don't need a quorum. We don't need this. We don't need that. And, get out of here type of thing. We're going to run ourselves. And bottom line is, if the police weren't there, God knows what would have happened. So that's my Miami experience this week.
Are you going to continue to represent them? Or what?
So far, I'm still the attorney. But that's my Miami experience this week.
Wow.
I can tell you it was a crazy, scary experience. And hope that never happens again. And thank God for Metro-Dade. So, Metro-Dade, here's one for you. Who do we got on the phone, VJ?
Elizabeth in Panama City.
Okay. Hey, Elizabeth.
Oh, Panama City.
All the way up there.
Hi, good morning. Thank you. I've taken your class and I listen every week.
Thank
but
you.
I do have a question, and I'd like to know, can two owners from one unit be on a fining committee of three?
There is nothing that I know in the statute that prevents that from occurring. Nothing that I know. As long as they meet the other requirements, in other words, as long as they were, as long as this is for a committee. So the answer is yes, they absolutely can. They were appointed by the board. As long as they get appointed by the board, then absolutely. Now, it may say in your declaration or your bylaws that committee members must be owners. So as long as they're both owners, then yes, I can't see why not.
Yeah, they are both owners.
Yeah,
it just seems like that way the board can set it up where you would automatically lose because they have two people that would vote that way.
Right, and I stumbled there for a second, but I was going to say, as long as they're not, related to anybody on the board, as long as they're not previously convicted probably of a felony and where rights weren't restored within 5 years, that probably also applies. Then I think, then yes, they're fine. They're fine. Absolutely no problem with that. Okay?
Great. Well, thanks so much.
You got it. Thank you. Panama City, that's pretty far away.
I love that.
Yeah, she didn't sound like my Italian suave accent, did she?
No.
Little different.
That's so funny. Where did I get you an Italian?
Who knows? A slick back here. That's what it was. You slip back here and you're a suave Italian. That's why I was called. And you know what? I was,
oh my God.
For some reason, I was calm and cool the whole time. And
that's being not more than rude. It's being, I don't know, hateful.
Yes, hateful, and I was calm and cool. You know, I'm doing this 32 years now, and you know, certainly, you know, nothing, you know, can bother me except that for some reason, that hit a damn nerve with me when he called me a slick back suave Italian. For some reason, that did it, and then
Well, what's wrong with being Italian?
No, for some reason, the temper kicked in. After that,
yeah,
it was just, you know, it wasn't good. And like I said, thank God for Metro-Dade. Who else we got in line? Yeah. Who else we got, BJ?
Cindy in Delray.
Hey, Cindy. How are you?
No, it wasn't good. And like I said,
Cindy, you got to shut your radio.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
I put her back on hold. I think she'll hear us in like 10 seconds.
Okay. Turn your radio down.
Yeah.
Turn your radio down.
All right, let's
see. Right next door to me.
Let's see if Cindy's back, right?
Hello?
Cindy, you there?
There she is. Yes, I'm trying to get my speakerphone on my phone. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
no, you have to shut your radio for it to work. So, all right, how can we help?
Yes, I wanted to call in first time and just ask a couple of quick questions. How do you get the HOA to do your maintenance? They seem to use that as the leverage or something when they put you on a blacklist. They quit doing your maintenance.
In other words, what
they
quit doing the grass in front of your house or something like that?
No. For me, when I turn in a maintenance form.
Yeah.
Oh.
You still there, Cindy?
I'm sorry, what?
You still okay? Well, I thought we lost you. So when you turn in a maintenance form, what? They won't do the maintenance that you request?
Correct.
Why?
Because they can.
Okay. Well,
I think they use it as leverage, like when you're blacklisted or something on the naughty list or something.
And why would you be on the blacklist or naughty list? Why would you be on that list?
I don't know.
Okay. Well,
because this is how it goes in my condo association. If you own a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, I'm a single white female, and they want the condo because they cut holes in the walls and make 2 units out of one.
Oh.
So I inherited my parents' 2-bedroom, 2-bath, and it's just been miserable for 6 years. And
so I don't understand. They want your unit?
Yes, correct.
In order to do what?
They want to put couples in there that are both had a job and retired. They both have a good income. They want to, and then they buy the 1-bedroom next door and make 2 units into one.
Wow. Okay. And you can show this. You can prove this, right? That sounds like a good case if they're purposely doing this to you.
Yeah, I've been there. So.
Yeah, I like that case.
What do you ask to be maintained that they're not doing?
Well, anybody who needs legal help off the air, you call Glazer and Sachs, 954-983-1112. Again, 954-983-1112. Okay? That does sound like an interesting situation. If that's something that you can prove that they purposely won't do your maintenance, they purposely won't do what you ask for, and they're required to do it by your condo documents or by statute, then you would probably have to first go to pre-suit mediation. You'd have to give them a chance to go to pre-suit mediation. And, of course, they would deny it. But if you can prove that this perhaps happened to other people, they forced other people out that way, you know, you'd have to find those people, and if they would testify that way, sounds like a decent case. I like it. Okay, you had some other questions. What can we help you with?
Same thing. I started the paver job like everybody else, pavers around the condo, and they pretended to approve that,
Right.
and then later on I found out they never approved it.
Right.
So I'm stuck with these pavers job that's not been finished, and
they
I don't
won't
know how to
approve
get
it now?
accomplished.
They won't approve it?
No.
Did you
no,
ask?
Nope.
Did you ask that they approve it?
Yes. Oh,
And
yeah. You have to submit your.
Okay.
site
Did you
plan
get a
drawings
denial? Did you get a denial, or are you just in limbo?
in limbo.
Okay. So a lot of times, if you look
Well,
at your
they sent
governing
they sent
documents,
an email.
all right, hold on. A lot of times,
sorry,
if you
what?
look at your governing documents, Cindy, right, there's provisions in there that say once you submit your request form, the board has a certain amount of time to approve or disapprove. And if they don't approve or disapprove within that time, it's an automatic approval. So, and I can tell you many, many declarations have that. Many. So I would suggest, you see how we perked her up there, Karen? See, we gave her hope.
You may be good to go.
We gave her hope. And you want to hang up with us.
Thank you.
You want to take a look at your governing documents, and you want to see if there's language in there that says once you make that request for an architectural modification, they have a certain amount of time to do it. If they ignore you, it's automatically approved. That's what you want to look for. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you so much for the call,
then
Cindy. We got to take our final break of the hour. Keep the calls coming in on this Easter Sunday, 877-850-8585, 877-850-8585, or keep the questions coming in the chat box on YouTube. We'll be back right after this.
The future of fiber is here. QXC Communications is a fiber network engineering firm based in Boca Raton. We build fiber networks that deliver high-speed internet. Why?
Hey, Karen.
Yeah.
And I'm scared, you know. I want to get out. I'm with Brian and Rich, but I want to get out of there. And I said, if you don't get out of my way, I'm going to knock you down. And everybody started yelling, arrest the attorney, arrest the attorney. He just threatened a woman. He just threatened a woman. And then it was nuts. So the cop comes over to me. Did you threaten her? Of course not. She was standing in my way. I had to get out. It was nuts. It was absolutely insane.
Oh my God! So you almost got arrested.
Yeah, it was nuts. And I would, if she didn't move, she was getting knocked down because I had to get out of there for my life. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
It was nuts.
And you would have been justified.
Oh, 100%.
Here we go, guys.
8111. Visit our website at bestroofing.net.
850 WFDL. Karen Curtis with Attorney on this Easter Sunday morning, taking your calls at 877-850-8585, or check us out on YouTube, and the channel is, of course, Condo Craze and HOAs. You can ask a question in the chat box.
All right, let's answer a couple of them. John writes in and says, does a condominium board meeting with the attorney need to be noticed to the membership? Good question, and the answer is yes. Even though it's a closed-door meeting, it needs to be given 48-hour notice, and it needs to be posted with the words, attorney-client privileged meeting, unit owners not allowed to attend, something like that. But yes, it does in fact need to be noticed. Kelly Berry writes in, what legal process needs to be completed before the association can collect the rent from the delinquent owner? That's what she's asking. And that's a great question. So Kelly, you got to make sure, number one, these laws were passed in like 2007, 2008. So let's say your condominium was built after 2007, 2008. No problem. You can use that law, right? Because you adopt the law as it exists when the condominium was built at least, and that law is already in existence. No problem. But suppose your condominium was built prior to that law going into effect, right? And that you're able to take the rent from a delinquent tenant. If you don't have the as amended from time to time language, right, where your condo automatically adopts future laws, Kelly, your condo can't do that. Assuming that you can do it, the law requires that there's a form letter that goes to the tenant, right, and it's advising the tenant you got to pay the association from now on, and not your landlord. You have to pay us from now on, and if you don't, you get evicted, right? And in addition to that, the statute requires that the landlord, the owner, get notice of what you're doing with his tenant. So there's two forms of notice that has to go out. The landlord and the tenant has to be provided notice, and as long as the proper forms go out, yes, the tenant needs to start paying the association directly instead of paying his landlord. Hope that answers your question.
And that's Kaufman language.
If you don't have Kaufman language, though, right? If you don't have that as amended from time to time language, and your association, your condo was built, let's say before 2010, you probably can't use this. Okay? So good question, Kelly. All right, who do we got on the phones, VJ?
Debbie in Tampa.
Debbie, did you say?
Oh.
Yes, Debbie.
Debbie. Hey, Debbie, how are you?
Hi.
Hey, Deb, how are you?
My question, it could be somewhat of a statement, but I just wanted to, I'm in an HOA, and since September of 2022, through the end of the year, new issues came up, with the hurricanes and irrigation. No meetings were held. The board just talked amongst themselves. There was no final decision regarding expenditures of association funds or approvals of AC changes at a meeting. And I did a document production of the checkbook and work orders. Thousands and thousands were spent. Sent a letter out to the community, like a campaign letter before the annual meeting, explaining these issues, and told anyone they're entitled to the documents that, I got. And after the annual meeting, for the first time, our attorney wasn't present in 2 decades. The president just verbally attacked me.
Right.
And her and her daughter, and just screaming at me for sending out the letter and all this. And I've done it for 3 years.
Right.
We're trying to get new people on the board.
Right. Nothing illegal about what you did, as long as you didn't defame anybody. Right?
No.
Stuff like this happens all the
It
time.
was just issues.
Right. And you're allowed to advise the community of what you think are issues, as long as you don't say, and by the way, the president is stealing, because that is defamation.
No.
That's defamation. That's fine.
The issue, the president took issue with it because she knew that, the whole situation probably revolved around her, and that's what she even said to me.
Right.
But her name wasn't mentioned. No board member was mentioned, but they just went off and I was talking about issues and documents and
apparently also, Debbie,
make their own mind.
You were saying that it's obvious that there were many, many, many important decisions that were made, and obviously without a board meeting. Right? It was done without a board meeting.
Right.
Yeah. So there's nothing wrong with bringing that to everybody's attention in the community and bringing it to the attention of the board themselves that they shouldn't be, making decisions, right, without a board vote in public, right? We always teach at seminars, can you communicate by email? You certainly can. Can you vote by email? Absolutely not. And apparently a lot of decisions
Well, that's the problem. They
might
know
be
there's
being made.
nobody that, they know they can get away with it.
Right.
So.
Well, you're obviously keeping a watchful eye, and your next step may be, if you wanted to, going to pre-suit mediation, sending out that letter. Okay.
Yes, that's what that's the only thing HOAs have, and especially with townhomes when we're kind of restricted more
Right.
than just regular
Well,
single-family homes.
as
so.
Karen and I have been saying, a lot of times people in a condo may not think that the DBPR is the best organization in the world, but
Yeah,
at
but
least
that's
when they
something.
have someone to make a complaint to. In an HOA,
Right.
you have nobody. You are on your own because the DBPR does not regulate you guys. Okay? Sorry, Deb, we got to keep going. Only a few minutes left.
Thank you.
Thank you. Who do we got, VJ?
We have Olivia in Panama City.
Panama City again.
Oh, another.
Okay. How are you, Olivia?
It's Panama City Beach.
Yes. Okay. How you doing?
Oh, okay. Good. So we have a condo, and we had a special assessment, and the special assessment was written down, and it had a purpose of 15 different things, and then the money was collected, and then afterwards I requested special or official documents to find out where the money was spent. And I found out later that the money, that the items that was the purpose of the special assessment had already been paid for.
Right.
So then my question was, where did the money go?
Are there any monies left over?
No, there's no money left over. In fact, the last item on the special assessment that would have been appropriate was actually gone before the last item was even paid for.
So are you saying they shouldn't have passed a special assessment because these things really didn't need any money?
Yeah, I found the receipts of most of the items, and there was a few on there that were appropriate.
Right.
But for the majority of them, they had already been paid for.
Well,
So I don't know how you can have an assessment for stuff that's already been paid for.
I don't know either, and certainly you can ask that question. But when it comes to special assessment funds, the board has to be really, really careful with it because it can only be spent on the items that were mentioned in that special assessment. I mean, the law is so clear on that, and that's a serious violation if the board did not follow that, right? If there's any leftover funds, right. If there's leftover funds, right, and maybe there are leftover funds because those things were already done, I don't know, then those leftover funds by law have to either be returned to all the unit owners in the percentages that they own the common elements, right, or the unit owners are credited for future assessments, one or the other. So you should find out if there's any monies left over from that special assessment.
There's no money left over, and when I ask them, about where the money went, they hear me, but that's about as far as it goes.
Right.
What's my next step?
Bottom line, get records. Get records.
Yeah.
You want to see?
I do have most of the records that says it was paid for. I requested record after record of, where this assessment went, and I'm not getting anything.
Well, that's a serious issue. If you don't get those records, then the law allows you to actually file an arbitration action. And if you're not being given access to those records, and if you go to arbitration, the arbitrator can award you an injunction requiring them to turn over the records. And if you win, your attorney's fees and costs back, and a penalty,
So my
right,
attorney's
of
fees would
$500.
be included if I win?
Yeah, correct. Your attorney's fees, a penalty, an injunction, all those things you would get by going to arbitration with the DBPR. Okay? But you want to make
Now,
sure...
The only thing that I have that's kind of crazy is who pays for that? Because if I'm part of the condo, I'm paying for something that I'm getting. Does that make sense?
That's right.
Right.
Yep.
Well, typically if anyone sues the association, right, even for an arbitration case, the association should take that case that they were sued with, even if it's an arbitration case, even if it's a records case, and they should turn it over to their insurance company. And their insurance company should appoint an attorney for them so that they don't have to go out of pocket for an attorney. That's what they're paying liability insurance for. That's what they're paying D&O insurance for. okay, so that they don't have to pay their own attorney, and you don't have to come out of pocket technically, right? The owners don't have to come out. That's exactly what you pay insurance for. So any lawsuit, you turn over to the insurance company, okay?
Okay, thank you.
You
Happy
got
Easter.
it. Thank you. Happy Easter. Anybody else left, VJ?
We have Mark in Pompano.
Okay, Mark, really quick, Mark.
Hey, how you doing, Eric? I got
Okay.
a question for you about these inspections on air conditioners. Are those individual units they want to inspect, or is that like for the clubhouse or something like that?
What are you saying for the structural integrity reserve study?
I guess I heard Barry talking about it earlier. You've mentioned it before.
Yeah, which are not.
I'm just not quite sure I understand.
It's not listed. HVAC, right, is not listed in the structural integrity reserve study. If those air conditioners are your own, if each unit owner is responsible for their own air conditioner, then obviously that's not included in the reserve study. It has nothing to do with really what we're talking about if each owner is responsible for their own. Okay? I hope that answers your question.
So that wouldn't affect the individual owners on the air conditioners?
That's
then?
correct. That's your own problem. When your air conditioner goes, you fix it. And you don't have to reserve for it.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Thank
Happy
you.
Easter,
I love
buddy.
the show, man.
Okay. Thank you so much.
too.
Thank you.
He loves you.
He loves you, Sal. We love all you guys back, believe me. And we can't wait to see you guys on Tuesday again at the Palm Beach Convention Center, 8:30 in the morning. We'll be teaching our board cert class. To register, go to condocrazandhoas.com. If you need legal help off the air, just go to condo-laws.com. Again, condo-laws.com, or call our office, 954-983-1112. Again, 954-983-1112. Enjoy your Easter Sunday. Enjoy the rest of the week. Just have it be safe, friendly, and fun, and we'll speak to you again next Sunday at 11 a.m. on Condo Craze. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.